Fresno State at Kansas. Kansas is breaking in a new stadium, and a stadium that is very impressive, I must say. That's a stadium that is going to be really fun to play in if you're a player, and if you're coaching in it, it's going to be a fun atmosphere for sure. I think that Kansas has done a great job, and Lance Leipold deserves a ton of credit for what he has done with this program. This is a program that I think at times felt like the sky was going to fall forever. You bring in Lance Leipold and things are very different. Now, last year was not their best season, but you also know that things could be better. You're bringing in a new offensive coordinator to run the show, and you also get back Jalen Daniels. Now, Jalen Daniels, part of it is he has to stay healthy. Part of it is that he's on his third offensive coordinator in as many years. I think the Jeff Grimes experiment was not a good one. I don't think that he was the right fit for this offense and the skill set they had, and it's really unfortunate because Jalen Daniels is such a special talent when he's playing well. And last year, the numbers kind of speak for themselves. 2,400 yards, 14 touchdowns, not great, threw 12 interceptions. He also ran for 439 yards and 6 touchdowns. You'd like to see those numbers improve in 2025. I think the drop-off too from him to the next guy at quarterback is something you kind of want to avoid. So that's something that Kansas really wants to pay attention to in terms of getting their quarterback in good position to make plays. I really like what they have around him, though. There's plenty of talent that's going to make plays for him. You have a guy in Daniel Hishaw coming back at running back. You also have LaShawn Williams coming in via the transfer portal, a young guy in Harry Stewart that could be very fun to watch running the football. It'll be interesting to see how that rushing attack truly works. The real question, though, is the passing attack. And this is a group that is relatively new or unproven. And you bring in guys like Emmanuel Henderson and Cameron Pickett to potentially give you a boost. Bryson Canty from Columbia. You also have certain players coming back that could be extremely helpful. Keaton Kubeka, Doug Emelian, those are going to be guys that you have to see improvement from. You saw some limited production last year from some of these guys. You need them to develop and be able to get open for Jalen Daniels. That's going to be a big thing for this team. Maybe the tight end position is going to be part of that as well, but we'll find out what this team can actually do with a proven passing attack and how this new offensive coordinator setup is going to work. The defense also is going through a bit of a transition, so that's a group that is going to have to play their part as well. Getting Dean Miller back is really nice. I also really like the depth that they have. Guys like Alex Bray, who comes in from Illinois, Justice Finkley, who comes in from Texas. You get Gage Keys to come back. DJ Withers is returning. Tommy Dunn Jr. Those are guys that in the offseason you were really excited about and you had high hopes for. And it's kind of easy to see why you'd be excited about that group. Now, the linebackers are going to look a little bit different. That's a group that is kind of a question mark right now because you just don't have as many familiar faces. But this is a defense that needs to wreak havoc because you're facing a Fresno State team that is going through a transition with a new coach. And Kansas is favored by 12.5 right now. And that speaks to where Kansas is compared to where Fresno State is. Now, Matt Entz is a good coach. If you look at what he did at NDSU, you know exactly what he's capable of in terms of winning football games. Whether or not that's going to happen right away at Fresno State is the big question. But this is a guy who knows what he's doing. He knows how to coach. He knows how to create a winner. And it might just take some time, but it'll be fun to watch him develop this team. He just named a starter at quarterback in EJ Warner. So that's a guy to keep an eye on. Obviously has the pedigree that we know of, the family history. Now you get an opportunity to showcase what you can do. Now, the wide receiver position, the passing attack overall, is going to have some questions for the time being. This is an offense that doesn't have a proven player at wide receiver quite yet. You have some young guys that are stepping up in a big way, and you have some returning pieces that could also play a role as well. So when you look at who could be some of those guys, you're looking at a number of players that you either haven't seen on the roster before or are just unproven commodities. That might take some time for everybody to get up to speed. And by the way, you're also bringing in a new system. This is a team that's probably going to see multiple tight end sets. You're going to see a little bit heavier sets than maybe you've seen in the past. You're going to see more 12 personnel, maybe even 13 personnel. This is where things get a little bit interesting because you're bringing in a culture change, you're bringing in a scheme change, and it's going to take some time for them to get up to speed. And this is a team that Fresno State's been really good against Power Four competition in terms of being competitive. Now, have they won every single game? No. However, this is a team that is very capable of creating headaches for Kansas, for any team that they face. That might take a little bit of time as well to get back to that point. I like Kansas to win this game. I'm not going to pick the spread by any means. I think 12 and a half. I'd probably lean towards Fresno State if anything, but I wouldn't pick that by any means. I do like what Kansas can do because Fresno State is going to be so uncertain right off the bat. But Fresno State is a team to keep an eye on long term. Short term, it might take some time, but I like Matt Entz and what he's capable of doing. Now, the question for them is going to be the defense. Can the defense be a stingy group? This is a team that has plenty of talent coming back on that side of the ball. They also lost quite a bit via the transfer portal. Now, the defensive line could have a big impact on this group. You have Jason Jacks, who's looking to step into a bigger role. You have Merhauti Zepera, who's going to be listed ahead right now of Corey Foreman. That is an or situation as well. Corey Foreman is someone who could have a big year. Now, Zepera could also be that guy. I didn't expect there to be an or next to that group, but here we are. This is going to be a really interesting group to watch, and I think that speaks to the depth that they have at defensive line. This is a good group that's going to be really interesting to watch, and if they can contain Jalen Daniels, that's going to be a real good way for them to get where they want to be in terms of winning football games. And again, Fresno State can be that stingy team. It's just a matter of how quickly can they come together and protect their quarterback? How quickly can they gel on defense with some of these new faces? Yes, the defensive line is good. The secondary is also pretty solid, but you have new faces at linebacker. You have guys maybe stepping into bigger roles on that side of the ball. Those are going to be big questions that have to be answered if you're going to potentially win this game. That's going to be a big thing to keep an eye on. And if Fresno State truly is going to challenge Kansas, there are some things they absolutely must do. And if they don't, it's probably going to be a longer game and potentially a longer season for the Bulldogs. But I really like Matt Entz. It's just that he's going against a team in Lance Leipold. It has Jalen Daniels back and healthy and hopefully firing on all cylinders. And it's going to be tough for them to win this game on the road in a new stadium with an electric atmosphere. It's going to be fun to watch Kansas do what they do, and hopefully Fresno State can get back on track in a later week.